Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for clicking on the video. I am going to move inside the aviary and show you what's been going on there. I have been waiting for a year and a half to get my permanent electrical work done, and folks came yesterday to do that work. Prior to that time, I had temporary electrical. I was doing tests about how many circuits I wanted and whatnot, also called extension cords. And I got the actual circuits run, dedicated circuits, and that enables me to finish off some of the last little construction projects. It's all getting inspected tomorrow. The electrical is getting inspected. This is all fine. So I want to show you what I've been doing in a little bit more detail. Some of this you've seen in the aviary build, but I didn't really do live video at that time. So let me move you inside and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so this is obviously the screen porch. This is my warming area, which is warming because the heater is plugged in. Okay, so you know what I don't have is I don't have the light set up in here. I hope this is videoing okay. All right, so here's what's interesting about this. So I made this door. There's bug screen on the outside. There is rodent screen on the inside, and in between there's a pocket. And there are scrap pieces of the 1/2-inch plexiglass that slide in between the two screens. And I can either close it off entirely, I can have it open entirely or partially open by moving those screens. So that's why I had to make my own door, because that was kind of custom. The area underneath this is storage, and that's accessible via a door from the outside. This is fully enclosed. I'll show you the access into the main aviary over there. This is where all the electrical work is. There's a fan in there. There will be lights in here. There will be a heat lamp. There's the heater, and the controllers all are there. But the birds can't get access to this area at all. They just get access to the cage. This cage is commercially available, but I'll explain a couple of things that I've done differently about it that might be interesting. Since I have power, and to make it easier to see, I'm ultimately going to hang that. Oh. Okay. So here are the changes that I've made to the cage that I think can be useful for anybody. This is a good cage, commercially available. I think I got it on Amazon. For the price, I think it's a good cage. There's a couple things that I change. Of course I do, because that's what I do. First thing is they would have you install these panels with these little doors opening out. And I flip it around and I install them with the doors opening in. Two reasons for that. One is that if I do that and I clip this back, it doesn't lay completely flat. But if I do that to the inside, then I can take a second cage, butt it up against this one, and now I can instantly have access to more area. So if I want to separate birds or get a male and a female used to each other without putting them directly together, I can configure the cages easily. If I have this open to the outside, then I have to make a pass-through, and I can't put the cages right next to each other. It's fine, but this just makes it a little bit easier, and it's easier to open and close access if I want to isolate a bird for, say, medical treatment. All I have to do is undo the little clip and then close the door. If they open to the outside, I have to slide them apart and then close the doors and whatnot. Okay, so that's the first change. Second thing is, normally the big doors are in the front of the cage, and that's the bit you can see the pass through to the main aviary through one of the big doors, and I'll show you from inside. But because I'm going to do most of my servicing, changing water and food and changing the bedding from this perspective, I needed a big door. So I took one of these panels from the cage that Tristan and Peter and Molly are in, and I pulled those out so that it was a double cage. I took one of those and cut it apart with my little oscillating saw, and I made a big door that includes the little doors, and I made my own door out of it. I do that a lot. I sometimes buy cheap cages and just repurpose the doors. I use a little oscillating saw to cut them where I want to cut them, and then just bend the wire that's already there so that I can make a hinge and make a simple latch. And this does have the little door as well, so I can just open that, or I can open the full thing so I can roll up the bedding and pull that out and clean it and whatnot. So I like doing that. I do that a lot with the cages because I just need to customize access. In addition to that, I line the bottom of the cage with plastic. So this is plastic on the inside, and that helps keep the seeds and the hulls in the cage a little bit better. And in this case, it goes right up to this level where the door is, and I can just hang, you know, my food bowls on it. But I also, in this side, it goes up a little bit higher, and I've cut some slots in the plastic, and I'll show you what that looks like. And what those little slots let me do is I can now hang the cage lower. The plastic goes all the way up to here, so when the birds are scooching around in the seeds or water, it can't escape the cage, so I can keep this adjacent area much cleaner. I don't want a lot of organic material. It's fine, I can vacuum it, but I can't really get in there with a broom, and so I want to keep the stuff contained inside the cage as best I can. So that's what that's for. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is, if you notice where the food trays go, let me draw your attention to what's happening up above that. Okay, so directly above the food dishes is this little divided perch, and I made a video about how I make them because I use them a lot as well. And it's just got a perch of dividers for privacy of the birds, and then it's got a little plastic tray that sits in there that I can pull out, or I can just scrub it in place. But what's nice about that, you can make these, they can have a top and a bottom, or just a top. If you want a little bit more protection, they can have just a bottom or none. And so you can configure them for whatever your purpose is. But the reason I have a bottom on this one is because now I can put the cages directly the food bowls directly underneath these, and they will stay clean. So it maximizes the space that I can use up high and also down low. Normally, you try to set the perches so that they have a direct drop to the bottom and nothing gets fouled underneath it. And so it restricts a little bit where you can put perches. Again, the birds aren't going to live in here. This is just a place where they can go to get warm and shelter if it's getting chilly out in the main aviary. And because it's snowing here, you can guess it does get chilly. Okay, a couple other features. That wall heater, space heater, is a Bluetooth enabled heater, so it talks to my phone, talks to the internet. I can access that from the phone. I can check the status. I can have an alarm on it if the temperature is out of whack, and I can change the temperature from my phone from anywhere, so that's handy. This guy up here is a different kind of controller. That controls a fan, and it's set to 85 degrees. So if it gets too warm in there, which in the summer it can get pretty warm, that will control that little fan way up in the corner, and that draws the hot air out. That's automatic. I can't, it's on a thermocouple. There's nothing I can do about that to control it, but it works great, super reliable. That little tiny fan is actually really quiet and quite powerful. It's normally used for cooling cabinets that hold electronics like stereo equipment. So that's also very reliable and lovely. There's my new, can you see it? Oh, my new outlets. I'm so excited. Okay, let's go inside and look at the changes from inside. Okay. So this used to be a sliding door, and I converted it to a hinge door because just like that one used to be a slider as well. First of all, because when it slid this direction, then it interfered with my little tree. But more importantly, it was getting so much gunk, you know, just debris buildup, seeds and hulls and whatnot, that you had to kind of know the magic code to get it to open. Like, okay, you have to push here and then pull and then use your foot to hook it, you know. And it was getting kind of ridiculous. So I converted it to that door. I don't normally like hinge doors because it feels like you're funneling the birds out. But it's screened, it's safe. They're going to be long gone by the time I open the doors. It's no big deal. It's blocked off up here. Nobody can get up above and be accidentally caught. If let's say there was a little baby, nobody can get caught when I swing it open. So it feels safe and good. I built this little dish holder. These are actually parrot dishes, and I usually cut them down. I may have mentioned already, I usually cut them down because they're a little bit deep. You don't need that much food, and the little gold breasts and whatnot and little fire finches are pretty tiny. So I cut them down with my oscillating saw, and these have not been cut yet, but I figured that might be a nice use of space to put them there. And then this is the warming area from inside. This is the pass-through right here. And all that does is it makes sure that if the cage is here and this plastic insert is here, that nobody could get caught in between those two spaces and get up where the electronics are or get lost. So that just sticks through the door. Then I can close it if I want to as well. And then that just goes through the normal door that was in the cage, and then there's the plastic has been cut out. So that goes in. And it just hooks on the door there. Now a second. Need a little plant repair. There, fixed my tree. The other thing that's a little bit interesting is that this down here is a little hinged door, and that gives me access to the tray. So if I do ever need to get that out or clean it, then I can access it from there. And everything's locked down so that nobody can get anywhere that I'm not expecting. And then up here is another one of those divided trays. I don't know if you can see it. That's there. So, and that's because this tends to be a nice warm area. So anybody who doesn't want to go in the warming area can perch anywhere up here, and it's a nice, it's a little bit warmer than elsewhere in the aviary. Okay. Oh, so I didn't point these out. These guys are little temperature sensors. They talk to a gateway that's hooked to the internet, so I can check the temperature from my phone, and I can get alarms on my phone if the temperature is going out of range. And I have 2 of them in different spots in the aviary, and I'm actually doing tests right now, testing the distribution of temperature. What I'm worried about is, you know, at night, some raccoon comes by, spooks the birds. They were comfortable and happy where they were roosting. Now they've moved to a new position and they're stuck all night being cold. So that's that's why I'm kind of paranoid about this. So I've been moving this around now that I have my electrical work done, and just checking different spots of the aviary, looking at the temperature differential compared to outside. Okay. So that's kind of the new stuff that I've done. I think I'm going to go get some millet sprays and put my I'm not going to move the birds in for a while now. I really do need to do these tests and take my time. This is my chance to do all the things that need to be done. I'm so excited. I just can't stand it. So, yeah, so I'm going to do that. I thought it kind of looked like a giant millet spray. Okay. Where are you? There you are. Doesn't that look like a giant millet spray? Go backwards, you can see it. I love that. I think that's so cool looking. Another thing that's kind of interesting, I think, is this is a technique I learned from reading a book by Tony Jochum in the Netherlands, and he suggested not hanging these guys directly, but putting them in a hanger. And so I combined two ideas. So it has a perch, so if I want to take the nest box out, it has a perch, and it has one of these plastic liners so I can clean it easily. And then when I want to slip the nesting box in, it just hooks under the perch, and it's really easy to get in and out. And that's new for this year, so I think it's going to be way easier to deal with than what I did last year, which is climbing up on ladders and, you know, trying to open the lid, and there's gobs and gobs and gobs of nesting material in there. So there's that, and then I moved this guy. It used to be over where the millet spray tree is. I moved it over here. The primary reason is because this is the southwest corner, and a lot of really good sunlight comes in, and when I open the windows, the eave windows, there's no filtering whatsoever. It's not filtered through acrylic or the greenhouse material. Everything's closed down now for the winter. But so they're going to get really nice direct sunlight through here if the birds would like to, and so that's why that's there. And then the millet spray is over here because it's a little bit easier for me to deal with, and because the seeds are easier to clean when they drop, hopefully in that vicinity. There's not much more. I have a few other things to do, and then it's just running the tests, making sure I'm comfortable that everything's working okay, and moving the birds into the warming area, and they'll stay probably just overnight in the warming area so that they know where food and water is for sure, and they know where they can get warm. 7 of the birds have been through this process already, so I think will remember very quickly, yeah, that's right, I remember how this works. The 4 baby parrot finches, this will be a brand new idea for them, but they will learn from the other birds pretty quickly how this all works. Oh gosh, I can't wait to sit in here and watch the birds explore and learn their new environment. Yeah. And you can see everything's covered in this double layer. That's layered on the outside of the thick plexiglass. That's just for double insulation for the winter. I'm trying to figure out, can this be a 4-season aviary or is it just 3-season aviary? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And all of that will come down for the spring and summer and fall. It's not necessary. And then I have great visibility from outside the aviary as well. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you're getting some ideas for stuff that you might want to do, or at the very least, maybe you have some ideas for me and you can share those. Okay,